Hello ladies and gentlemen, I decided to make a video on choosing the best class for you, so I'm going to try to make it quick because if I go into depth with each character, the video gets pretty long, so if you guys want me to make a more in-depth video, then I can do that, but again it will be a lot longer, so yeah, just let me know in the comments down below, but I'll get started here. First with the Explorers, and then I'll move down on the list. So, the Explorers are the original, I could either say original 4 or 5 because they added the Pirate later, but they're the most original classes as they were the first one. So, obviously Warriors, up close and personal, and then you have the ranged classes, so Archer, Pirate, and Mage, and then Thief, depending on which tree you go down. So either the Hermit, so throwing stars, or Bandit with, I guess you could say daggers. So I'm just going to touch on a little bit for the Mage. Within the Mage, there's Cleric, or at 4th job Bishop, and they're really a support class, so they're, I guess you could say, in high demand for parties because they have a skill called Holy Symbol, HS for short, and basically it gives you more experience for each monster that you kill. So if you like going into parties and leveling, I guess you'll get first dibs basically because everyone kind of saves a spot for HS because obviously you level a lot faster. So Explorers, you'll really get recognized if you choose one of them because they are the original 5 and there isn't that many anymore. So yeah, if you like being recognized, then yeah, you should choose an Explorer. And then Cygnus Knights or Cygnus Knights, I just like to call them Cygnus Knights because that's how I first pronounced it when they came out. So I like to call them a knockoff of the Explorers, but they only get to level 120. And I kind of like to call them support classes as well because for every 5 levels that you get or that you reach, there's a skill called Empress Blessing, and it basically gives you 1 magic and weapon attack for every 5 levels. So, and it gives it to all your characters, so that's pretty good. And they're basically an updated version of the Explorers because their skills are more fancy, I guess you could say, and the effects are pretty cool. So I'm gonna move on to the Resistance. They kind of they're pretty cool. They have a nice little switch up here with the Battle Mage. They're basically a warrior and a mage put in one. So if you don't like the health on mages, but you do like mages because you might die a lot, so battle mages are good because they have a better balance, and they have a buff that increases your weapon defense and magic defense, so that's a nice boost. And it's also good for parties because it's a party buff as well, as long as your party stays near you, so that's pretty good. And then there's mechanics. I have level 200 mech, but they're fun, but their damage isn't the greatest unless if you're funded, so it's pretty cool to be in a big ass mech. And then there's Wild Hunters. They're basically a crossbowman or bowman, but with higher mobility because they have the Jaguar, so that's pretty cool. And then there's the Nova characters. They have a cool twist as well. The Angelic Buster has like recharge skills, so you need to kind of recharge in order to use the better skills. And Kaiser has like a bar that you can fill up, and I like to call it the button mash system, I guess you could say, because you could set a skill up on certain buttons that you press and then it recharges your bar faster. And once you max the bar out, then you can turn into a big ass sexy Kaiser that you see right here. And yeah, he's pretty badass. And then the Sengoku characters, Kana and Hayato, they're pretty good as well. Kana is in, I guess you could say, high demand as well for parties because at 4th job, I believe it is, she increases, or you can make it a guy as well, so that's pretty cool. Increases the spawn rate for monsters, so that's pretty good. And then Hayato is basically a badass samurai. He's basically an upgraded warrior, so that's pretty cool. And Aaron, he's like the true button masher. Prepare to get your fingers jacked. They don't need much funding because they're pretty powerful. And yeah, they're a fun class. And then there's Evan. He's pretty OP as well. He has a little dragon, and as you level up, your dragon gets bigger, so that's pretty cool. And there's also a mount skill for the dragon, so you could fly around on him, but you have to pay money for that. Sorry. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. So if you follow my muscle guides, you could get that mount skill pretty easily. And Mercedes is pretty good as well. Highly mobile, and in my opinion, more badass than an archer or a crossbowman because they have 2 crossbows, so that's pretty cool. And another thing I like about them is that their link skill is pretty awesome. It gives plus 10% bonus experience per kill, so I like to get my Mercedes to level 70 in each world for that because it helps you level quite a bit faster, so it's pretty good. Phantom, he can steal skills, so he's also in high demand for parties because you could steal HS, Holy Symbol. So yeah, the skills that you steal aren't as powerful as they are if you do be that actual character, so that's something to keep in mind, but it is nice to have skills from each class. Oh yeah, but you can only steal skills from explorers, so that's another thing to keep in mind. But imagine that, stealing like a skill from another class, that'd be pretty awesome. But his 4th job skills are pretty cool as well. I like them. They're nice and flashy. Luminous is basically a really OP version of a mage from the explorer class. He has a pretty cool system. He has like a light and dark system, so if you use light skills while you're on like the light mode, then your light skills will do more damage and hit more, and then vice versa. So if you're in dark mode, then your dark skills will do more damage and hit more per line, so that's pretty awesome. Demon Slayer, I'm gonna say he's in my opinion, one of the most fun classes to play. Sorry. I'm kind of sick, guys. Just excuse that. He's pretty cool. He uses no mana. Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot to say about Angelic Buster. She just uses her recharge thing, so it's pretty cool. And instead of Demon Slayer using mana, he uses Fury. So basically, you just use your standard control attack, but it looks pretty sexy for him. And it recharges Fury, and then you can use really sexy skills. But just beware because his most of his skills do use health as well. But he has a couple skills that do recharge his health, so it's helpful as well. And he's also pretty mobile because you could fly with his wings, so that's pretty awesome, even at level 10, so you're pretty mobile. It's pretty sweet. He's definitely one of my favorite characters. And then there's Dual Blade, basically, I'm going to say a revamped version of the Thief from the Explorers. He's pretty cool. He has very high avoidability rates, same as the Thief in Explorers. And basically you won't get hit as much as you level higher, so that's really helpful, especially for bossing. They're really good for soloing. So yeah. And Mihail, I honestly really do not like him. He kind of has the same skills as the other warriors, so I don't like him at all. But that's just me. Maybe some of you would like him. And Cannoneer, sorry, I'm just gonna take a drink. I'm like dying right now. Okay, apologies guys, that's better. Okay, so Cannoneer, I never really played him, but he seems like he could be fun with a big ass cannon, so yeah, I don't really have much to say about him. And same with Jets, they really died down. I have rarely seen Jets, and I think the reason for that is because it kind of copied skills from other classes, so that kind of screwed it up for everyone. They're just kind of a random ass class that stole skills from everyone. So yeah, that's basically it. Apologies if the video was kind of long, and if you want me to make a more specific video, then I will do that for you guys. Just leave a comment down below, and thank you guys for watching.